Welcome to Pop Culture Roulette for all your pop culture needs. We're America's podcast. All right. I'm Nicholas, and as always, I'm joined by, just didn't care about today because it didn't really matter, Justin.
Never do. Never care.
And I'm joined by, about to be shocked, Jeremy.
Why?
The nervous look on his face. What?
I didn't intend to set out to put Robin Williams situation down on you again, but it literally just happened.
No.
So I might even hit Justin with this one. It's also coming from not necessarily 100% reputable news sources.
Okay.
But literally, like in the last 15 minutes, it's being reported that Bob Saget passed away today.
Oh my God.
Like very recent. Like TMZ is reporting it. So a lot of other news sources. Yeah, it's now on the Yahoo News Source web. So I'm hedging my bets that because it's TMZ and no like major news outlet reporting it, that it might not be 100% accurate.
Fox 35 Orlando.
I hope not.
News 4 Jacksonville. Fox 8.
Well, it happened in Orlando. According to the what I read, they were called to his hotel room in Orlando, and he was found unresponsive.
ABC News has put stuff up there.
Okay, so real news studios are. So, like I said, I didn't want to Robin Williams you.
You did though.
But I did. But I think I got both of you this time, so it's a little better, I guess.
That's like, oh my God.
I was like, all right, let me look this up. Oh, that's crazy.
It's tragic. I mean, it really is because, I mean, he's 65. I mean, because it just happened. It's way too early to speculate. I mean. So I'm not even gonna like throw out wild, crazy theories because I don't want to have to come back next week and apologize for stuff. So.
Right. I just listened to. He did an awesome tribute to Norm on one of his like podcast episodes recently. It was really, really nice. Yeah.
Did we talk about Betty White last week?
Briefly touched on it.
Okay. End. So, I mean, this week, we talked about Betty White, but this week we also lost Sidney Poitier.
I told you we're just going to start a celebrity obituary segment.
Apparently, you're right. This is our new segment, Celebrity Death Watch.
Have we already moved on from Bob Saget? That's all.
Well, it's all wrapping around. We need
we'll come back to Bob Saget.
Okay.
Today on Celebrity Death Watch.
No, I mean, obviously Bob Saget. Probably for Jeremy more than me or Justin, simply because we're a little older. With Full House, like I was a little past Full House. Like I watched it, but I wasn't like wrapped up in it the way I'm guessing you were.
Yeah, I watched it a lot as a kid.
And I don't know where Justin stood on because age-wise, like I don't know.
It was out there. I didn't watch a lot of it, but it was definitely part of the TGIF lineup and stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's why, because I watched a lot of the other TGIF stuff. Like Full House just never did it for me the way some of the other ones did.
Yeah, well, it's bad. It's really bad. Like it's not funny, but I was a child. I mean,
but his stand-up once he got off of that show, his stand-up, he was actually pretty funny.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Although I will say, for me, his most memorable line or most memorable role in a movie is from Half Baked.
Yeah,
when Dave Chappelle was like, "I'm hooked on on pot," and he's like, "What? That's not. Did you suck dick for coke or for pot?"
Yeah.
And
I've sucked dick for coke. I've seen them.
But yeah, I mean, he's really funny. So I mean, it is, like I said, I mean, it literally just happened in the last like 15 minutes that the news broke. So it's too early to speculate, and I don't want to be that guy.
All right.
So we'll move on. So I mean, he was funny. I mean, he was kind of hamstrung on Full House because it was what it was, but you know, back in the 80s, 90s, well, even now, like you're a stand-up comedian, your entire focus is to get a TV show, and then you kind of have to change who you are once you get a TV show, because you can't be that person once. So like, I don't like understand how like you can watch the Bob Saget stand up or the Tim Allen stand up or some of that other stuff and go, you know who he'd be perfect for? Family TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do know that he did get a little dirtier after Full House, just as kind of trying to get away from being on Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos, like being like
America's Dad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and honestly, let's go ahead and say it, because the other guy who was America's Dad, we had to take that title away from him a couple years ago because, well, yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
Let's give it to Bob Saget. I mean, he was a great dad on Full House. The show might not have been great, but you know,
Yeah.
he was. And then he had America's Funniest Home Videos. He was. I think I liked his hosting way better than Tom Bergeron or Alfonso Ribeiro. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, I don't know. What is your feelings on America's Funniest Home Videos?
Do they still even make it?
Yeah, Alfonso
Yeah.
Ribeiro's doing it.
Yeah, I stopped when Tom Bergeron was the host. So
I like Tom Bergeron a lot. I think Bob Saget was a good host, but his voice has got a little irritating at times.
That is true. I did notice as they went on, like they started getting less, like making the jokes during, like making them say things they weren't saying.
Yeah.
And they did more just either running commentary or just showing the video.
yeah,
Yeah.
it turned a lot into MST3K on there.
Yeah.
With him
But,
just making
I mean,
his own commentary for small children and whatnot.
to steal from another much better podcast than we are, he will be missed.
He will be missed. Yes.
Wow, for sure.
Big buck.
All Big bucket. Just go ahead and steal the whole thing. All right. So, but let's do, before we get to the news stories, let's do a little story time. We're going to go a little media pod smash with it.
Ooh. All right.
We're going to get a little, you know, instead of going completely pop culture. So yesterday I had to work. I got home and I decided I'm going to fix the bathroom sink. There's just been a constant drip for the last week or two, and no matter how much you fiddle with the handle. So I was like, okay, well, this will be easy.
Mhm.
Now, you need to remember how old my house is, or parts of my house are.
Yeah.
And you also, Justin, you've seen the house, so you know what kind of weird nonsense the man who owned this house before me was into.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still waiting for the musical clown.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
Musical clown?
We were going through and cleaning it up when he first got it, and I don't remember, it was in one of the bedrooms or something, and you go in the closet and it's this like metal, it's like a sheet metal made into a clown with like balloons, if I remember right.
Oh.
And it was a music box, and you could crank it and it would just spin in a circle and it would just play while the clown was holding balloons.
Yeah, I should have just given it to you that day. I don't know why I didn't.
Yeah. There's a small collection of those metal music boxes in this house somewhere.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, and I was like, I want this. And he's like, well, if no one else wants this.
Yeah, because I can't
Yes.
find it, so I don't know where it went to. I should have just given it to you.
It's gone.
All right, so anyway.
It's so cool.
Yes.
So if you're fixing a faucet that's got a leak, all you should have to do is get a little screwdriver, a little socket wrench, and pop the one handle off, and then pull the cartridge out. Well, you turn the water off first. It's very important because we are an instructional podcast here.
That's right.
We want to make sure if you're doing this at home, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So you turn the water off, and then you should just be able to pop the little cartridge out, run to Menards or Home Depot or whatever your favorite home supply store
your local
is.
hardware store.
Buy a new cartridge, come home, put that back in, the handle back on, project done.
Mhm.
That's what should happen.
Mhm.
Here's what actually happened.
Today on the Red Green Show.
Oh, you don't even know. Just wait. So, all right, I pull the handle off and I cannot get that cartridge out because who knows how many years it's been in there. So it's tough. By the time I finally am to the point where like I'm just like, okay, I'm done. I've pretty much destroyed the cartridge, but I still can't get it out. So I'm like, okay, well, I hated the faucet anyway. I'll just go to Menards and buy a new faucet. So, the wife and I jumped on Menards.com. We found one that she liked. So I went, I picked it up for like $40. I came home, I started putting it in. And of course, he used some weird gas hose to hook the cold water up. So instead of water hose, he used gas hose, which is not too much of a problem because it's not pressurized water really. So it's not like, it's not the best, but it's not a terrible idea. But it gave me the wrong fitting because I didn't think about it. So I bought the right type of new water line, but now I got the wrong fitting. So now I have to go back to Menards, get the right kind of fitting. Oh, and so that was the second trip to Menards. I then, as I'm putting it all back together, realized that the hot water hose apparently had gotten old enough that when I hooked it back up, it broke.
Mm.
So now I had to go back to Menards and buy a new water line because I get everything hooked up. Everything's hooked up. It's all working. But then I realized that the on-off valve for the hot water is leaking. It's dripping.
Mm.
And because it's not dripping into a sink, I can't just be like, fuck it, that's next week's problem. It's dripping onto wood and, drywall or whatever. So now I've got to turn water. Now I've got to go turn the water off for the whole house so that I can now take the on-off the on-off valve off. So another trip to Menards.
My God.
Buy the right on-off valve. I get home, I put all that on, and now everything works great. So what should have been like a 15-minute project turned into like a 2-day ordeal.
Nice.
Which should have cost you like $5-6, and it's probably costing you like 60.
Mm.
Yeah.
60, 65, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. Yeah.
Times.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but bathroom sinks
They're tiny spaces.
Are tiny spaces.
Yeah.
Granted, I know I'm overweight, but that's not the part of me that's going into the sink. The very large shoulders that I own are trying to go into the sink. They barely fit. Oh, man. So, yeah, just talk about shoving a 6'1", man with very broad shoulders under a sink in the smallest room in the house, and talk about how much fun that was.
Yeah, I've spent some time under my sinks here trying to fix stuff.
It's tight. That's why I hire children to do most of my labor.
Get to work, child.
Then they just live under there.
That's when you're done, just pull up the pillow.
Fix it up nice because you're going to be living there.
All right. Well, anyway, so that was my tale of woe.
That sucks, man. But I'm glad everything's fixed.
Yeah. So that's one problem that I've now solved.
Check it off the list.
Check it off the list. Well, let's talk about problems that can't be solved, though.
Ooh.
The Rock versus Vin Diesel.
Oh.
Don't
so
solve
they
it.
have been in.
Just don't solve it. Stop making movies together.
They have been in a feud since Fast 9. I think that was the last one he was in. Fast. What did they just put out? No, they just put out 9, right?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
remember.
I've never seen any of those.
All right. Well, I mean, you're missing out on some fun live action cartoons where they send
Didn't
Ludacris to outer space. But
yeah, didn't you say they went to space?
yeah.
So they're on
Yeah,
like
so-
10. 10 is
Yeah.
when you go to space.
Well, I think they might have done it in 9. I think because I think 10's supposed to be the last one.
We're out of
But,
ideas. Send them to space.
So it must have been 8 that The Rock did, because I think The Rock showed up in the 5th one, did 5, 6, 7, and 8, or 5, 6, and 7. I don't remember. Anyway,
and
that
Hobbs and Shaw.
right. Well, that's because because the Fast and Furious people are like, we know that people pay money to see The Rock. We would like to continue to have that money. So we are not mad at The Rock. This is Vin Diesel. I guess on the last one that they did together, Vin Diesel was kind of a prima donna diva bitch. And we might have talked about this back in the day, because The Rock went on a whole tirade about how Vin Diesel's a candy ass and he's a prima donna. Like, he just basically called him out for being really unprofessional on the movie set. And was like, I'm done. I'm never going to work with this fucker again.
They should settle this in the ring.
Well, that would be nice. I mean, The Rock will still destroy him because
Bring back
Rock's
Celebrity
muscles-
Deathmatch.
because the Rock's muscles are real, and I think Vin Diesel's are just for show.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So that's when The Rock went off and did Hobbs and Shaw, and they went off and did the other Fast movie without him. And then, so they're going to end it with 10. And so Vin Diesel publicly back in November was like, oh, Dwayne, I miss you. I love you. You're right. I was such a dick. Oh, come on back. We'll do whatever. Oh, we can't do this without you, brother. Like, oh man. Oh.
I want that money. I need the ticket sales.
Yeah. In other words, I'm guessing that means 9 didn't do as well as they were hoping. I mean, I think money, and part of it also could have been, COVID. But
yeah.
But so they're like, I think part of it's like, for 10 we want to get everybody back. So he's trying to make all nice. And The Rock's production company was like, I mean, we'll pass the message on, but he made it pretty clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Vin kept going on about it, and so The Rock kind of had to come out publicly and was like, "No, motherfucker, I told you, like, we're done. I will keep doing Hobbs and Shaw movies because those are fun, and I love all those guys. But you and I never gonna work again."
Ooh. Some fences just can't be mended.
No, so the Hobbs character will not be showing back up in the Fast and Furious main movies, but we should be getting more Hobbs and Shaw.
That's the only one of those I've ever seen.
Where you could
Yeah,
lose.
that's weird. I mean,
Hobbs and Shaw. No,
hey, look at me being unprofessional.
I wasn't that confused because I don't know how much it actually does with the normal Fast and Furious,
Okay.
but it kept me entertained.
Cool.
It was entertaining, I'll tell you. Well, I mean, they didn't do like the origin, like, so you don't really know who Lucas Hobbs and Deckard Shaw are. So like, there's a lot of
Jason Statham and The Rock. That's all I knew. And I went in and I was like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, but had you seen a couple of the movies beforehand, you would have understood the back and forth between the two. But but you're right. You ultimately don't need to see the other ones to see that one.
Okay. Are they in love?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, maybe not in a like it's definitely not homoerotic in any way.
Is there like any subtle touching, like a touch of the knee or a touch of the shoulder? Indicate that maybe if there
comes up behind, gives him a little neck kiss.
Okay, I do remember that scene now. Yeah, you're right. I forgot.
All right, cool.
The Rock smells Jason Statham's hair.
Nice race the other day, buddy. Cool. I'm in. I'm gonna go see it then.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, since we're talking about crazy people,
yeah,
All right.
and Vin Diesel being like completely off the rails and out of touch with reality. Let's talk about another crazy person. Now, I know I said we won't get political on this show, but occasionally we do have to talk about politics.
Okay.
Let's talk about how Kim Jong Un, the communist dictator of North Korea, is coming out and claiming that his father, Kim Jong Il, is the one who invented the burrito.
That's amazing.
Yeah. They're telling me he didn't.
I mean, I would tell you that hundreds of years of Mexican / Spanish culture would say that he did not invent the burrito.
Did you do any research to back up your argument that he did not invent the burrito?
No.
Like you
But-
didn't Wikipedia burritos?
I'm also going to say that Kim Jong Un's claims that things that he did are spurious at best, since he also claimed he shot an 18 when he played golf once.
I heard that. Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten like probably a 22, 23.
Not on video game golf.
Oh, no, it was mini golf, and I only did like 4 holes.
Okay, yeah. No, this was real golf, and I think he also claimed he could control the weather.
Oh, I've
He's
heard
like-
that too. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Isn't he like 5'2"?
Uh,
I don't
there-
see him shooting an 18 in golf.
I don't know. I mean, I don't remember what Kim Jong Il his height was. Kim Jong Un isn't much taller, so I don't imagine.
I'm using
Like, I
the
mean,
wiki here.
And also, the apple that clearly didn't fall very far from the tree on the crazy train of that family.
Yeah, for sure. If he played mini golf and got 18, it still might be kind of impressive then, due to
Yeah.
his
It
height.
would still be impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
It says he's 5'3". Was 5'3".
how tall are you, Jeremy?
5'8".
And Justin?
About the same.
Is
Me
that?
and, me and Jeremy are pretty close in height.
Okay. Yeah, 5'3". You guys would like tower over him.
Yeah, why does anyone listen to that guy?
I don't know.
He's so tiny.
You do wonder like how anybody in that country, because you've got to imagine that like the military or the government officials, like the people who are a little higher up and have it a little better off than your average peasant
Mhm.
in North Korea, has to be like, the man's crazy, right? Like,
Right, yeah. They've got
As soon as he leaves the room, all right, now that the crazy guy's gone, what are we actually going to do here?
but I mean, I can't, like, maybe because we've grown up in such the country that we've grown up in with the amazing amounts of freedom that even though people want to deny it, we have. It's really hard to imagine a world where like we could have the state-run media going, yeah, my father, the glorious leader that I forced you to take a week or 2 weeks off work to mourn, he invented the burrito.
Yeah, it says
fucked up.
a North Korean government mouthpiece has claimed Kim Jong-il created burritos in 2011.
Right. Okay. Do you know how in 2011 how many hundreds of burritos I had eaten in my life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Taco Bell's like beefy 5-layer burrito came on like 2006.
I mean, come on. I mean, that's the kind of thing that like I would think might accidentally start a revolution. Like if I was making a comedy movie like The Interview or something like that, that would be one of those like moments where like as the peasants were like, what? That's it. That's the last stand. Like, all right, clear. Like clearly that has to be like when the light bulb, like the cartoon light bulb goes off above your head.
Right, exactly.
Bing!
Yeah.
Our leaders might be crazy liars.
Yeah, for sure. At least like claim something that's not as easy to debunk immediately. Like,
Right.
say like you invented like giving the bird, because no one can really prove who came up with that.
Well, but even that, like,
Stone Cold
it's something
was
that's
doing
been
that
around
in the
for
early
so.
2000s.
But still, at least you can't like look up and trace its origins exactly. I'm sure you could trace the origins of the burrito.
Well, maybe. I mean, it could be one of those foods that's just been around for so long. Like,
Maybe, yeah.
All right, claim you invented Netflix. Like, okay,
Yeah.
something that hasn't been around for hundreds of years.
We just need to start making some wild accusations on this podcast to things we've invented.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I invented toothpaste.
Nice. I was thinking more of a podcast as a group to get us, but if you want to be selfish about it, I know Jeremy invented Zoom.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That is true. He did.
Yeah.
And Justin, I mean, of course, you came up with the recipe for the secret ingredients that go into KFC.
It's true. I am the original Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
Well, and you won't share your 11 herbs and spices.
I will not. I'll tell you, one of them is salt.
I bet another one is pepper.
I was going to reveal that. I was going to reveal that next week.
I don't believe it.
What? Get him. He knows 2 of the 11. All right. Well, speaking of wild claims that are unsubstantiated, but we want to talk about it anyway.
Beautiful.
And I'm just saying, I'm not even trying to set myself up right now, and it's just working out great.
Wow.
So the new Flash movie that's coming out. Do you remember the subtitle, or is it just Flash?
I thought it was just Flash.
Okay. We already knew that Michael Keaton was going to be in it as Batman. There's a lot of rumors that Batfleck will be showing back up for at least one more appearance. There's a few other DC, like old school DC characters that are supposedly going to be showing up in cameos. I've heard that Michael Keaton's role is actually somewhat substantial, not just a, hey, how's it going? Like it's actually going to be like, have either of you seen Spider-Man yet?
No.
Ah, okay. Funny. Like we've seen that.
Good one.
I mean, literally everyone else on the planet has seen it, but not you two. All right.
No, we stick together. Solidarity.
Part of a pop culture podcast where our job is to talk about pop culture. But hey, whatever.
Wow. Let's change it back to Point Cube then.
All right. Anyway, but the rumor is that not only will Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck and some of the other old school guys going to be in this Flash movie. This is going to be the movie that they retcon all of Zack Snyder's movies out of existence.
Wow.
All right.
So they're going to use it as basically like
a new starting point.
A new starting point where they can still use a lot of the same actors. So like Jason Momoa will still be there, Gal Gadot will still be there. I don't know about Henry Cavill or Ben Affleck.
I think Affleck said he's done, isn't he?
Yeah, but he also said in an interview that the most fun he's had doing Batman was on the Flash movie. So, maybe now that he's actually enjoying it, he'd give it another go. So, but I don't know. I mean, because I've also been hearing that the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson isn't going to be connected to the DCEU at all. It's just its own Batman movie, kind of like the Joker. Like the Joker was its own thing. Like maybe they're going to do more Jokers, but it's going to be in the Jokerverse. Maybe they'll do more, sparkly vampire Batman, but it's going to be just in that Batman universe. So I don't know. Maybe this Flash movie will be the way that they connect it and hand the reins from Affleck to Pattinson.
It could be.
Because they'll just be like, because I mean, well, that's something that DC invented in the comic books, however many decades ago anyway, because back in the original runs, like they didn't care about continuity. They were just like, I'm gonna hire this writer and he's gonna write a super cool Superman. But because people collected them, but they weren't as hardcore about it. And so like they would just go off and do whatever they wanted. So Batman was over here doing that, and then Batman would be like, oh, whoever was writing Batman would be like, oh, I want to use Superman for this story. Okay, cool. And he would go off and do something that would be very different than what Superman's doing over there. And so like you had like 30 different versions going on because Superman was in this book or that book or that. And so at some point, DC had to be like, we're blowing it all up. And they did Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they invented the idea. Well, I'm sure they didn't invent the idea. They took the idea of infinite Earths, where like there's an infinite amount of Earths, and on that one, like instead of being somewhat wannabe professional podcaster, you're a fireman, or something like that. So they went with. So they had to like basically they had like 30 Batman and they killed all but one. Or same, with all, so basically they brought it all into one cohesive universe. Well, unlike Marvel, who kept everything, that's where the Marvel method is. Like they kept everything in house, and they all had to always make sure that whenever they used a character that wasn't theirs. So if Spider-Man was going to use Punisher, you had to know what Punisher was doing so that it fit in with what Punisher was doing in his book. So that way you didn't have, differing stories. And then DC didn't learn, so they had to do it again. And I guess they didn't learn when they started doing the movies, and now that's what they're doing over there.
Yeah, they don't like to communicate over at DC.
What are you doing over there? You're making this whole. Oh, interesting. That has nothing to do with what we're doing over here. We probably should have talked at some point.
I think it'd be better if I just did this with him. So, the surprise.
So obviously, I mean, I know where I stand on the Snyderverse of movies. Like, Man of Steel was okay. Batman vs Superman, the director's cut was okay. I have not been able to bring myself to watch Justice League, the Zack Snyder Justice League yet. Because I hated the first one so much that I can't, like the idea of rewatching a movie that I hated that much and extending it to 4 hours is just.
Yeah.
Justin, you watched it.
Yes.
And you watched the original, the Whedon cut?
Yeah, I watched them both.
Okay. Is the Snyder cut better?
Yeah, it kind of like brings it all together a little more cohesively. So I like it. It's long though, but I definitely recommend giving it a watch. They kind of break it down too, so it's like you could watch like a chapter.
Because I know you're more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy. What do you feel about them just using the Flash movie to be like, all of that stuff is gone, now we get to go play in our own world?
I mean, if they do it right, I'm all for it. Trying to get everything cohesive again, or for the first time, not again. I think that's the problem they've always had, like you said, though. They never really make it like, okay, this is what's going on throughout the whole thing. Instead of just like, okay, well, here's a movie, let's try to make money.
Yeah. Oh, and
they did a decent job of that with TV shows.
Right. Until they decided to get super woke about everything.
Yeah.
And then just made them all unwatchable because it was just nothing but a constant preach fest.
Yeah, I stopped watching that stuff a while ago.
Like, I'm all for inclusivity, but like just make it as part of their character. Don't like just hammer it down on you. Like every 5 minutes I've got to bring it back up and then hammer you in the head. I've got Harley Quinn's mallet and I'm just gonna keep hitting you on the head with it. Like, no, I get it. I'm on board with you. I agree. Nope, gonna hit you again. So okay, so there's that. Oh, wait, look at that. That actually leads me to a person who wanted to go a little too woke.
Did Do they have a mallet?
Marissa Tomei wanted to turn Aunt May into a lesbian.
Oh, I heard this. Yeah.
I just
It depends on a lot of things, like how good it would have been, like the partner that she had, the steamy scenes that they chose to include, maybe.
all right. I'll put it to you this way. All right. I went and saw the Eternals, which
Okay.
was not. It's not as bad as everybody said it was. All the critics, but it's definitely probably the worst Marvel movie, which still puts it better than most every DC movie. But I mean, it was enjoyable.
Unnecessary.
It was enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, but there was a sex scene. Like, I mean, it showed nothing. It barely was. It was more of just two people staring at each other really close and going, yeah,
Mood
like so.
lighting and
Yeah, kind of. So, like, I mean, but it felt so out of place.
Right.
And then the director was all like, "Oh, I got a sex scene put in a Marvel movie. It's the first one. Oh, look at me." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't need that in a Marvel movie. I don't even need the relationships in a Marvel movie." Yeah, I mean, Ant-Man and the Wasp have been getting together, but I mean, that's just more of a like they're together. Like it's not like they're not kissing and ooh smoochy smoochy all over the place.
Yeah.
Just I want bad guys fighting bad guys.
For 90
You know?
minutes straight.
You know, I mean, like Clint and Laura Barton were married, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And like there was that's I mean, you understood that to be part of their character, but it wasn't like their focus wasn't on a relationship. So like I think the Marvel movies are better off for doing it. Like you can play with Spider-Man and like is he will he not, because that's important to who his character is. But I don't need the sex scenes. I don't need that stuff. So I don't need them to make Aunt May a lesbian because her sexuality is not important to the story.
Well, what if in their story it is?
I don't. I mean, it's never been important in the comic books. I mean, every so often they would be like, "Oh, she's going to marry Doc Ock," but in fact, is because like she was tricking him or something like that.
Peter and his two aunts.
But you know, like I mean, there's also, you know, 80, not 80 years, but like 50, 60 years of comic history of Aunt May, and none of it is that.
Right.
So just
I
I
hear you.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
So
I'm glad they didn't do that. I know what it's like to have one of your favorite characters fucked around with.
Okay, who was yours?
James Bond.
Did you watch the new one yet? Oh, that's right. We did. You did say, yeah.
Yeah.
That is something we need to talk about. Maybe we'll do one without Justin one of these days.
You can talk about it with me. It doesn't.
No, I was talking about like Jeremy and I can do a breakdown of like not necessarily an exhaustive breakdown, but kind of a James Bond like one-off, like, you know, move where we talk about the 25, 26 movies.
That'd be
who
fun.
our favorite Bond was, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
But since you brought up James Bond,
yes,
you've given me the perfect segue to my next story.
Fuck yeah, look at this.
We were talking about Spider-Man, and now we're talking about James Bond. We're just going to marry those two stories together. Before well, kind of. Tom Holland went to the James Bond people and pitched a young James Bond, like an even like earlier prequel movie, like not like where James Bond becomes 007 like Casino Royale, like James Bond just becoming a spy in general, like, you know, just super young, like, you know, almost James Bond Jr.
Right.
You know, because they did that James Bond Jr. cartoon in the 90s that I really liked. I don't know if either of you remember it.
Never saw it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it was probably not near as good as I remember, but that's just, you know, I could try to find it, or I could just go, what? Nope, it's just going to leave that locked in the memory banks.
It's a good idea.
And not rewatch it so that the memory of it stays, you know. But I guess I don't know. I don't think that the broccoli people have anything to do. And I'm not saying like the people made out of broccoli. I mean, I'm talking about broccoli Barber Broccoli,
Yeah.
production company. The people who own the rights to James Bond. They must have shared that information with somebody because apparently they were like, "Yeah, we're going to pass on your idea because we just, that's not what we want to do." But I guess some people who heard about it enough liked it, and they were like, "Huh." And that's kind of how Tom Holland got Uncharted.
Ah, okay. Makes sense.
Interesting.
And that's, I guess, and I didn't know this, and this, I guess that's why Uncharted is doing, because I know both of you had complained that Nathan Drake was not that young in the games.
Right.
I guess this movie is more of a prequel origin story.
Okay.
So it's not retelling any of the stories from the games. It's more of just leading you up to the games.
Sure. Okay.
So
Cool. I mean, yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with that movie.
Same. It looks like they combined from the trailer a lot of the games though.
well, I mean, they
They have
probably
they have like the plane scenes. It looks like they have 1 and 3, which I don't know how you make it a prequel then if you're going to include all that stuff.
well, they probably took a few fun elements or kind of the bigger set pieces and then just were like, we're going to make it younger, so it's going to be a prequel and include a few things to make people go, I remember that.
Sure.
Or, ooh.
That makes sense. Well, best of luck. I like Tom Holland, and I like who's the other dude? Marky Mark.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I like those guys. So hopefully it's good.
So yeah, I mean, well, and now with James Bond, who was it that I heard just recently that they thought like because I know a lot of people are still pushing for Tom Hardy or Tom Hiddleston or oh geez, you know what I thought when I was watching Eternals, that guy Jon Snow, whose real name is escaping me right now.
Kit Harington.
Kit Harington. Yeah, there we go. I thought he might actually be able to play James Bond. His role in Eternals, nothing like James Bond, but the way he carried himself really, because he was a very different looking character in the Eternals than he was when he was Jon Snow. Mainly because he wasn't covered in 10 pounds of dirt and super long hair and scraggly beards.
Hey, what's wrong with that look?
Well, there's nothing wrong with that look. I mean, that's why me and you rock that look. But,
Yeah.
No, there was some scenes in that movie where he wasn't necessarily trying to be James Bond. Where I was like, okay, I could see Kit. I mean, if they would go probably with the youngest actor they've ever had, but I mean, I think he could do it. I mean, there are a few guys I think that could pull it off. I mean, I would have. I mean, I rewatched the Bourne Ultimatum, whatever the first one was today.
Yeah.
And a very young Clive Owen was in it, and I'm like, that's when they should have gotten Clive Owen to be James Bond. I don't think he can do it now. Like he missed his chance, but
Yeah, he would have been good. That's a good pick.
Okay. Well, I don't have a segue to my last story. I mean, we were going so well with segues there, but
so close.
So we are still living in this world where entertainment is getting pushed around, and I want to get your take on it. Morbius was supposed to come out in the next couple weeks. Yeah. I was looking forward to it when it was supposed to come out back in like June of last year. I like the character of Morbius. I like some of the darker Marvel characters, Morbius, Blade, Werewolf by Night. I'm so looking forward to the Moon Knight series on Disney Plus. So the fact that it's now pushed back to April, like it's going to be almost a full year. Does it scare you that the movie's not as good as they were hoping, and that's why like they didn't push back Spider-Man any more than they did? or they didn't put like they pushed some movies back far enough, but they were like, okay, we got to release them. But they keep pushing the Morbius, or do you think they're just they really want to have people actually going to the theaters?
I don't know, Justin. What do you think?
I just think it's all about the timing because I think now it's postponed till April 1st,
I believe that's what. Yeah, I know it was April, but
which then will be pushed again because they'll be like April Fools, it's not coming out. Suck it. No, the stuff I've seen in the unless they're just showing the good stuff in the trailer, I'm not worried that this one's not going to be as good. I don't know if they just figured let's just keep moving it with Spider-Man still raking in the money.
Maybe
don't
that's
want to compete with itself when they seen how good Spider-Man was doing. Maybe they're like, oh, let's move this back.
Yeah,
don't compete with ourselves.
That could be it. And that does fear that I am a little bit afraid of that with Marvel in of itself, because they keep announcing all these things they're going to do, and the slate of movies they've got coming out. Like, I mean, we got Morbius coming out, although I guess that's more of a Sony, so like that doesn't necessarily mean. Although no, because he's in the Sony side of it too. Because Michael Keaton's going to be in that one as well, because they're bringing him back from Spider-Man: Homecoming. But so I don't know. I don't know if it's an MCU movie or not. But they've left them open enough to be able to use them if they want to.
Yeah.
You said you saw the Carnage movie.
I watched the first Venom. I'm gonna watch Let There Be Carnage today or tomorrow is my plan.
Okay. I'll be interested to hear your take on that one.
I didn't mind the first Venom.
The first one was okay. I just thought it could have been so much better.
It started off pretty slow and then it built up. But yeah, I agree.
It made me feel really old because one of the things I kept hearing about people's complaints on like Transformers was, I can't tell what robot is what at the end of the movie. It's just a bunch of robots. And I'm like, dude, you're so old. Like, clearly that's Optimus and that's Megatron and that's so and so and that, like, it was no problem. And then on that final battle with Venom and Shriek, no.
What the hell was his name?
No, Shriek was in the new one. Venom and whoever he was fighting. Like, it was so dark, and they were both black characters fighting on a rocket in the nighttime, and I was like, I can't even tell who is who. Like, and I was like, oh great, I'm now making the same argument against this movie that I was like, you're just old with Transformers. So
right, nice.
Thanks, I'll see myself out. I'm too old now.
You lived long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Oh man. But the other big announcement of pushing stuff back or just pushing it. I mean, I don't necessarily know. Pixar had a movie coming out in March called Turning Red.
Where the one with the red panda?
Yes.
Okay.
Like a preteen girl like gets angry and turns into a red panda, or I don't know what the story is. I know a girl turns into a red panda.
Yeah, it's when she gets like mad or frustrated. She can't control her emotions and she turns into a big red panda.
Gee, that sounds an awful lot like something else. I'm trying to think of
my god
storyline that. Anyway, I mean, granted, although Pixar and Marvel are both owned by Disney, so anyway, moving on. That one's going straight to Disney.
We will too one day.
Your lips to God's ears.
We will be owned by Disney as well.
But that one's going Disney Plus. Like, it's skipping the theaters altogether, and it's not even going Disney Plus Premium. It's just going straight like Disney Plus, which would make, I think, the third straight Pixar movie. So because I know Pixar was pretty pissed about Luca going straight Pixar or straight Disney Plus. Yeah. Did either of you watch Luca?
Luca, yes. No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Luca. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad.
And then I know Soul went straight Disney Plus and didn't go to the theaters.
Soul
I mean, now
was
granted,
good.
That one I
I
didn't see.
I do think that Soul and Luca are going to be fighting against each other for best animated picture of the year, so it's not going to hurt them. But at the same time, it seems like Pixar was on such a run with like Toy Story, The Incredibles, Finding Nemo, Cars, Ratatouille. I hate it, but Wall-E,
Oh yeah.
Up. Like they were dominating the box office for a couple 20 years, and now all of a sudden they can't get Disney to put their movies in the theaters. They're like Disney Plus.
They must really make a lot of bank on that.
They must to put to because Soul actually no, Soul would have been last year's Oscars because Soul won best picture of the year. What am I talking about, man? And you guys just let me say it.
I didn't even realize it was that old.
I never seen it.
So actually, it went Soul, then Luca, now turning red. But yeah, so it's weird that like Pixar has dominated the animation world for as long as it has, for Disney just to be like Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But
No theater for you.
I do think that means that Disney Plus must be raking in the money for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know we've talked about this.
I'd say who did Ron Gone Wrong?
That went everywhere because it's on Disney Plus and
Right,
on
that-
HBO Max.
That was also in theaters, but which company did that? Was that
I don't know because it's like I said, I saw it on. I mean, I haven't watched it yet. I do want to watch it, but I've seen that I can watch it on HBO Max. I can watch it on Disney Plus. I could rent it on Vudu. Like I was like, okay, who actually did this movie?
I went and seen that one in theaters.
Did you?
Yeah, we took the little one for her birthday. It came
Right.
out, but I don't remember who did it. But it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm probably gonna watch it in the next week or two.
But I
I've
don't
been
remember.
trying-
I don't remember which company did it.
I don't know because it's so weird to see it. I'm still confused because I distinctly remember reading the story when they were announcing Disney Plus that Disney told all of the other companies, don't think that we're going to renew your rights to show any of these movies. We're bringing it all over to Disney Plus. And like Stars keeps premiering like Disney movies or Pixar stuff. Like they still have a fair amount of Disney on Stars, and HBO has a fair amount of. So maybe they signed like really long-term leases, or Disney was like, let's not cut off our nose to spite our face, because like if people are going to spend all that money to come watch it on Disney Plus, and HBO is going to give us all that money and to show it over there, double dip, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We'll charge you to show it on Disney Plus, and we'll charge HBO to show it over there. We'll get paid both ways.
Back up the Brinks truck.
I think the Brinks truck backs up to Disney. Disney's like, we've been printing all the cash. Can you come pick it up?
Yeah.
Our back room is getting a little stuffed. Yeah.
Scrooge McDuck's vault needs to be emptied.
Can you come pick some of this money that we've printed?
Our money room is overflowing again.
Our money room is overflowing. Oh man, I wish I had a money room at all, let alone one that was overflowing.
I have a money jar. It used to have pickles in it.
Oh.
We have a Golden Girls cup that's full
Nice.
of coins.
I also have a cheese cup that's full of coins.
Nice.
A cheese cup?
Yeah, I'll grab it after. It's over there. But I'll show you what it looks like.
Okay, I had to say, is it a cup that had cheese in it at some point?
No, it's a cup that looks like cheese.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's a cheese cup.
I see.
All right. I mean,
I have a Overwatch loot box that's a bank that's filled with coins.
But now that we've told everybody
Yeah.
exactly where we're keeping our money, they can come rob us.
Yeah.
Come get our loose change.
You want 20, 30 bucks in loose change? Come on over.
Oh, I don't even think I got that much. If I got like 12 and 15. So if they rob all three of us, they'll make a good $50.
Well, with the banks being closed for as long as they were, I couldn't get to the Coinstar machine or whatever that thing in my bank. I probably shouldn't say what branch I use, but they have one that I can use for free. So
Yeah.
like I don't have to go to Walmart and pour it all in there and have them be like,
and get charged like 7%.
Mhm.
hey, you know all that money that you were giving us for free? Yeah, charge. We're taking some of it.
Yep, we take a percentage.
All right. Those are all the news stories I got for you guys. You guys got anything? You got any pop culture thing? What pop culture have you been consuming in the last week?
Justin.
Not much. I've been waiting for the Surreal Life to come out, that new one, because I'm intrigued by that with Dennis Rodman.
Oh yeah, that's right.
There's no release date on it. I checked out the new Gordon Ramsay show, that Top Level Chef.
Oh, nice.
It's not a bad competition show.
Does he have a
Uh,
lot of
Why watch that
outbursts?
one?
So far in the first 2 episodes, no.
Okay.
Let's give him time. He will. Watch some football, seeing what's going on with the playoff picture, getting that all squared away with. That's all I've been consuming. Back at work now, so I'm sleeping most of my day away.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, now that you're not out on but which by the way, you don't like people knew you had that, right? Like we talked about that on the podcast or
I don't know. People at work, I
Okay.
think.
okay. Like that wasn't a secret that you had it?
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
I let work know, management knew.
Okay, because I was saying something to the wife, and then she said something. Because I guess somebody at work was like, "Have you seen Justin?" And she's like, "Oh, he's out on quarantine." And then she was like, "Oh, wait, I don't know if I was supposed to say that."
Yes. I was like, whatever. Normally when they ask me where I've been, I just went, I take some days off. That's all I say to them. Especially the older people that work there. I'll just be like, I took a couple of days off.
Is that because you don't want to scare them or you just don't want to talk to them?
Can it be both?
Yeah.
I just say, I assume it's both. And
Um, what about you, Jeremy? What have you been
Oh,
consuming this
man.
week?
So much. I finished Hawkeye. That was good.
I really enjoyed that.
Have you seen it, Justin?
Nope. I haven't
Okay.
started or I never even finished Loki.
Oh, okay. I won't say anything about it then. Watched Ghostbusters Afterlife last night. That was awesome. That was a really fun movie. I love like the whole small town vibe that they created, and every character was just, I don't know, really, really well written, good stuff. I liked it a lot.
I thought they did a really good job of balancing fan service and nostalgia
Mhm.
and like creating a new story where it wasn't like I'm just rewatching the same story.
Yeah, for
But,
sure.
but still enough like, hey guys, here's some of the
Yeah, like,
that one. Now that you've seen it, the one scene that I didn't want to talk about because I didn't want you to know it was coming up. Did you tear up?
oh yeah.
Okay, because I almost did. That one almost broke the streak.
I mean, like, I think the real question is like, what don't I tear up at?
I mean,
yeah,
he tears up watching Tom Brady out on the field.
It's true. Tom, I love you. No, but yeah, great scene and great movie overall. That girl was great. She was really, really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought. I mean, Paul Rudd is just so good in pretty much
Yeah.
everything he's ever done. But
Yeah.
I thought he was really. I loved the mini puffs.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. You'll have to check that one out, Justin. It's good.
Is it on any of the streaming things to rent, or is it still one I'll have to go see somewhere?
You can rent it on demand or like Amazon or whatever. One of those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I watched the two of the three Psych movies this week too.
Oh,
Are you paying for Peacock, or is that just one of the free ones?
Free. They have different levels. I have the free level.
Yes, I also have. That's how I watch Santa's Sleigh.
Ha! Nice. Is the free version do you have access to everything?
No.
What do they give you?
There's a lot of old TV shows and older movies that you can watch for free. But like when I was watching Santa's Sleigh, like it's a lot of commercials.
I didn't have a whole lot of commercials watching the Psych movies. I think there was like two or three. They're like an hour and a half long. I don't know what's all on there. I just basically got it so I could watch those because the third one just came out.
But I know like some of the Peacock exclusives are still behind the paywall. So
Got it.
like I really want to watch the third and I think now fourth season of AP Bio
Oh,
because I loved that show, but I'm just I haven't been able to bring myself to pay for another streamer.
right. Yeah.
Like it's like the whole reason I cut cable was to save money, and now I'm doing
All the streaming things, yeah.
all these other streamers. So I mean, I am saving a little money by sharing passwords with people. And
Yeah, that helps.
I watched most of the fourth season of Cobra Kai.
Nice.
I've still got a couple episodes yet to go on that, but I do. I mean, if you're a fan of the first three Karate Kid movies, more so the first two, because third one is just terrible. I think you'd really dig Cobra Kai. I mean, I think I blew that movie up a couple weeks ago, a month or so ago, anyway.
Yeah.
When we were doing an episode, but yeah, it is. The fourth season is pretty good.
Sweet.
And I don't remember what else I was watching this week because I was trying to finish up something else. Oh, the tenth season of Letterkenny.
Wow. It's a lot of seasons.
Because they're only like 6 episodes a season.
Yeah, okay.
I think so Canadian TV I think follows a lot of the British TV where they only do like 6, 8 episodes a season.
Yeah.
For most, some, I mean, this is not true for all of it, but most of it tends to keep seasons pretty short. And then they do like a holiday special, generally speaking, like a Christmas special. So like Letterkenny was like 6 episodes a season, and then like several seasons have like a 7th episode where it's like a holiday special.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
like Letterkenny was changing the season, like it wasn't a Christmas special every year. So they just did that. They did that with Ghost, the one that Justin and I were watching, the BBC Ghost.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which
It's weird going back and forth.
Yeah, that's I was because I watched I binged out all of the BBC version of Ghost before I watched the American version. Started watching the American version, which I like as much as the BBC version because they're just different enough. But then they put the Christmas special of the BBC version up. So I watched that and I was confused for a second because I was like, oh wait, that's right. This is the other, because I kept waiting for like the caveman not the caveman, the Viking to show up. And I was like, no, wait, he's the American version.
Yeah.
Which I got to tell you, Jeremy, I do recommend Ghost.
Okay.
Especially maybe just the American version. They're both good, but the American ones, I think I like that one a little better.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Is that because you like Rose McIver better, or?
I like the Viking better than the caveman too.
Oh, that I don't know who I like more, the caveman or the Viking, but they're both probably my favorite characters.
Yeah. The British, is it the politician? I think is a little better than the American politician.
Yes, I would agree with that one.
Let us know what you think, Jeremy.
Okay.
and PCR fans. So I guess now we haven't done this in a while, and I guess we need to start doing it more often. kind of plug in our stuff. Like and subscribe on whatever podcast directory you subscribe to.
5 stars on Spotify.
5 stars on Spotify or Stitcher or whatever. iTunes. We're on. Well, iTunes doesn't even exist anymore. I guess Apple, whatever Apple does for podcasts. I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
But I know we're on Stitcher. I know we're on Spotify. I know we're on Apple. I've tried to make sure that I think we're on iHeart now. I've tried to make sure we're on all the major directories. Like us on Facebook if you haven't already. Share us with your friends. If you don't want to put your comment on Facebook so that we can all see it, you can email us at popcultureroulette@gmail.com.
Yeah,
Which
I think
probably
we're
not
all
the
on,
best.
probably not
the
on
best
Twitter
idea.
now too.
Oh yeah, that's probably not the best idea because I don't really check the Pop Culture Roulette email all that often. But go ahead and do it.
Oh, I get alerts anytime we get new emails from that on my phone.
Oh really?
Yeah, I got it linked up with my Gmail shit. So
okay, well then Jeremy will check it, and he'll let me know.
Yeah. So far, it's just from places we've signed up to.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Like Podbean and Stitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something that starts with a V, like verbal or something.
Oh, No, Verbo is the Airbnb thing.
Oh yeah. It's like something then. I don't know.
Verbal, maybe?
I don't yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just went on a binge one day. I was sitting home alone and I was like just typing in podcast directories. Oh, I put myself on that one, put myself on that one. Or found them and they're like, is this your podcast? Claim it.
Sweet.
It is my podcast. I will claim it.
All right.
Or you can just follow us on SoundCloud if that's where you want. But anyway, so if you claim that you invented the burrito several hundred years after the burrito was actually invented,
2011.
or you think that you can win over the Rock with publicly announcing things, or you just want to get rid of a whole existing universe that people seem to love for some unknown reason, just remember that stupid never walks alone.